Hello again, Victories. We've had a fantastic half term, haven't we? And it seems so long since I've seen you. I hope you've been having lots of fun with all the sunshine and the warm weather. I think last week Sally did the most amazing thing with those matchsticks, didn't she? She gave you a really good puzzle to guess what the answer was. Well, I've got something a little bit different for you today because we're going to start a new series. We're going to start one called Keeping Our Hope in God in the Hard Times. And we're going to be looking at Bible characters who kept going in faith, kept their trust in God really strong despite life being difficult for them. So that's another word for kind of persisting in faith and keeping going. So there are lots of things in life where we have to keep persisting and doing things so that we can manage to do them and it's good for us. So I've got a bag full of some clues, some objects, and I'm going to take them out one by one, and I want you to write down what you think they represent that we have to keep on doing because it's good for us. Okay, so persisting in. So get a piece of paper and a pen, and when you're ready, I'll get the things out of the objects. So you can pause now if you need to. Okay, I've got my bag ready. So what I want you to do is write down the name of the object, okay, 1 point for that, and what you have to use it for, okay? So why you're persisting in using it. So first thing, really easy, okay? What's that? And why do we persist in using it? Number 2, don't know if any of you know what this one is, okay? Name the object. Why might I persist in using it? Number 3, easy one. Why might I not use it? Okay, what might I have to do to not use it? Okay, and I have to persist in practicing that so that I don't have to use it. That's a trick one, isn't it? Okay, number 4, fairly easy one. What's the name of this? Okay, it has a special name, okay, and why might I persist in using it? Number 5, you won't have one of these probably, okay? I showed you something last week in the video, so why might I persist in using this? Okay, and last one, most horrible object really. It symbolises something I hate doing. Why might I persist in using that one? Okay, so those are your objects. So first one, we had easy toothbrush, okay, and we don't want holes in our teeth. Number 2 was, I think it was this one, wasn't it? So skipping rope, might persist in it for getting fit, yeah. Number 3 was calculator. Persist in learning your times tables so you don't have to use it. Okay, number 4, I might have got muddled up, don't know. Tangle teaser, don't want knots in our hair, do we? And this one is a collar and a lead, and I will persist in using it because I am training my puppy so it behaves really well. And last one is, this is polish, furniture polish and I persist in using it because I don't like dust in the house, otherwise I sneeze. Okay, so those were your objects for persisting. How did you do? How many did you get right? Count them up and give yourselves a thumbs up if you got them all right. Okay, well done. So we're going to move on with our Bible story now and think about our first Bible character who kept on going with faith in hard times. So I'm going to give you some clues and you're going to see if you can guess who that person is. So the first one is, she was a woman, nice easy one. She was married and she'd been married for 10 years and she didn't have any children, and so her husband had to marry another woman. And so she was one of 2 wives. Now, because he'd married her first, he obviously loved her the most. So she was his favourite wife. So you can imagine how that made the other woman feel. She didn't feel very loved, very appreciated. So what she did was she was really mean to this lady, and that made this lady very sad. So I wonder if you can guess who the character might be. I'm not going to tell you yet, so have a think. So she was one of 2 wives and she was very sad she didn't have any children. So next clue is the other wife was called Penaniah, okay? And Penaniah had 10 sons and 2 daughters. So that meant that this marriage was going on, and she'd been married for a very long time and still had no children. But every year they went to the temple in Jerusalem and they met the priest, and he would bless them and they'd pray for children. So you're getting a few more clues now. So which Bible character went to the temple and prayed for children? And after about 25 years of going to the temple and praying for children, God answered her prayer and she had a son. And the son's name was Samuel. So that's the biggest clue of all, probably. So her name was Hannah. I hope you got that, yeah? So God answered her prayer, and as you all know, Hannah was so faithful to God that despite the fact that this son was so precious to her, she promised to give her son back to the temple, back for service of God. And when he was about 3 years old, she took him back to the temple and she gave him to the priest, who was called Eli, and he brought her son up for her. So that was just an amazing expression of faith and trust in God, wasn't it? And God rewarded Hannah because after that she had 5 more children, and that was a real joy for her. But it's a real testimony, I think, when someone has a big struggle like that. 25 years of praying in faith and hoping and waiting, and eventually God answered her. But she kept going. She kept believing and trusting in God all that time, which was amazing. Life can have its disappointments, like it did for Hannah. She was disappointed for a very long time that she didn't have children. And we too can have disappointments that are hard. This year, my biggest disappointment was my brother was going to come and visit us all the way from the Philippines for a holiday and celebrate his big birthday, but he couldn't come. And we've had other disappointments like holidays being cancelled or not being able to go to school, as you know. So keeping God central, keeping him as the number one in our life, the one who we trust, is really important. So like Hannah, keep trusting, keep praying to God, keep spending time with him, keep reading his word in the Bible. All of that will keep him in your heart and keep you strong with God as you go through your life. And I thought it'd be really good for us to make a craft today to represent that. There's a lovely verse in the Bible that talks about, "As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord." So we're going to make a craft of a house, and we can write a nice Bible verse about trusting God on the outside of it. So what you're going to need before you do that is you're going to need some colour pencils to decorate your Bible verse, some scissors, and some coloured paper if you can. It doesn't matter if you can't find coloured paper, but get 2 different sheets if you can find it. Otherwise plain white will be fine, or you could even do it with a newspaper. It doesn't really matter. Okay, so you go and get those things, and then I'm going to show you how we're going to make that house. Right, so if you've got your piece of paper, first thing you need to do is fold it down the middle. This is quite easy, okay? And then you want to fold in from the corners at the top into the middle, and on the other side, turn the paper round and do the same thing the other end. Okay, so if you get behind, just pause the video and you can catch up. Okay, so it doesn't have to be too accurate, that's about right. And then when you've got it like that, then you want to fold the top to over so it matches, and you've got it. You've got a little house shape like that, really. Okay, then fold it, put it on the paper table again, and fold it in so you're folding in the edges to the middle, and you'll end up with a shape just like that. And you want to make 2 of those, so you've got 2 shapes. And then take one of them, and what I need you to do is get the scissors and cut down the middle just a little of the way up, because you're going to be making a doorway. So cut through to the middle, and then make sure you go through both sides of the paper, and about 1 centimetre to one side and 1 centimetre the other side. Okay, and then you can put it flat and then just fold those out like that, and that's like 2 doors opening out for your house. And then you're going to put the 2 edges together, and this is where you stick one between the other just to join the house together. So you should have it like that. And then if you've got a stapler, you can staple those together. Hasn't gone in very well, I have to press hard. That's it. And then you take another piece of paper, so that's your house, which looks quite good, doesn't it, if you hold it that way round. Okay, take another piece of paper, and this is going to be your roof on which you can write your memory verse. So take the piece of paper and fold it in half. That's really nice and easy. And then fold it in half again. Okay, and then because it's a little bit too wide, we're just going to fold it in a tiny bit more, just to shorten the width of the roof. And then we folded it like that, and then it can go on the top of your house. And there we are, that's your house, which is fantastic. And what I've done is I've taken the Bible verse, taken this one, which is called Proverbs 3, 5-6. Okay, and I've written the whole verse out, and I'm going to put that on my roof. And there we are, and it says, trust in the Lord with all your heart, lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your paths straight. Proverbs 3, 5-6. And that's a lovely verse for us to remember, that whatever happens in life, we just need to trust the Lord with those problems, and he will help us through them. So I hope you've enjoyed that and had a good craft session today, and I hope you have a good week going back to school if you are going back to school, or that your work at home goes well for you and that the sun keeps shining for us all. Okay, lots of love, take care, bye.